Good morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, some local students combine the holiday spirit with science.
Plus, law enforcement in Parsons have filed charges against the tobacco company, after discovering drugs in the building.
And we've got a nice start in terms of the sky. It looks great out there, but it's going to be a chilly one again. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door. Coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. And of course,
Halloween!
It is Halloween, so we have Tanya Bach.
Hello.
And everybody yesterday said when I wore my sweater that I was Mr. Rogers, but he has a button or zip-up sweater. That's not what this is, but I will accept it. I will be Mr. Rogers, and it is a cold day in the neighborhood.
It sure is. It sure is.
And you can't see through those things.
I can't. These are actual real glasses, so I didn't plan the costume accordingly. These things make me feel blind. So
yeah. So we are doing a lot to help you make your day a lot better, and some kids in Carthage, their day's a lot better too.
Absolutely. Pumpkins took the spotlight yesterday at the Steadley Elementary School in Carthage. The school carved out some time for their 3rd grade students to do experiments at the school's annual pumpkin lab.
KOAM's Elise Noe has the story.
Steadley Elementary 3rd graders had the opportunity to have a hands-on learning experience as they combined math skills with gourds for the school's annual pumpkin lab. The students worked on their multiplication tools while weighing and measuring their pumpkins and counting the pumpkin ribs and seeds.
They're working on multiplying by tens, they're working on estimating, they're working on circumference.
We're opening a pumpkin at the top, and we're going to count how much seeds there are.
For 3rd grade teacher Nicole Bayless, the pumpkin lab has been a staple in the curriculum for the past 19 years she's been teaching.
It's one of our tried and true activities that's just a little bit more fun. It's way more fun than just sitting down and doing a worksheet about multiplication. It's a hands-on activity.
The pumpkin lab provides a way for students to stay engaged in the days leading up to Halloween, a holiday most kids wait for in anticipation.
Because usually when we do some of the Halloween stuff at school, we get to do some pumpkins, we get to do some candy bags, and we get to dress up.
So the kids are obviously very focused on Halloween right now. That's all that's on their mind, candy, dressing up, everything. So just to get the most out of these days surrounding a holiday, we just try to incorporate some hands-on fun math activities.
In Carthage, Elise Noe, KOAM News.
The pumpkin lab taught students tools such as multiplication and teamwork.
Oh, that looked like a lot of fun, though. You know, it makes me miss elementary school. We had a lot of fun back in the day.
Gosh, right?
Man, I tell you, it was good times, and good times to stay indoors today because it's cold. I mean, seriously, it's cold. If you're going to trick or treat, do some trunk or treats where it's not so cold out there. That's our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Great skies, clear skies from the MoDOT camera, 32nd and range light. Freeze warnings continuing. Northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas through 9 o'clock this morning. Quick look outside, clear skies, as we mentioned. Across the area, it looks great. Just doesn't feel so nice. 29 in Joplin, 29 in Pittsburgh. We go through the day, we will technically reach highs around the low 40s for record-keeping purposes. But in all honesty, most of the day is going to be in the mid to upper 30s out there with plentiful sunshine. We're also going to be a bit breezy at times, so that's going to result in our wind chills hanging out in the 20s for a bit today. Again, we got a pretty chilly Halloween trick-or-treating forecast, but warm weather is on the way, and we'll take a look at that full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Authorities in Independence, Kansas are investigating a deadly shooting. The shooting happened yesterday morning in the 1100 block of West Cedar. When officers arrived, they found 37-year-old Jason York of Independence with a gunshot wound. He died at the scene. No arrests have been made. Joplin's Lafayette House gets a grant courtesy of the Ozark Food Harvest. It's a portion of a $1 million investment Ozark Food Harvest is making in 70 organizations to relieve hunger in southwest Missouri. The Lafayette House helps provide a safe haven for survivors of domestic abuse. This grant will allow the house to buy a new refrigerator, increasing its capacity to feed families in need. Lafayette House officials say their current unit is more than 20 years old and recently quit working. Authorities have filed charges after the Labette County, Kansas Sheriff's Office seized narcotics while executing a search warrant at a tobacco shop in Parsons. Authorities executed the three search warrants at the tobacco store called Hashtag in 2 homes nearby. Officers seized about 9 pounds of marijuana, 4 ounces of methamphetamine, 2 grams of suspected fentanyl, and $18,000 cash. The 3 warrants were issued after an 8-month investigation by the Sheriff's Office. Authorities arrested Dorian L. Allen during the search. He's charged with distribution of controlled substances, possession of drug paraphernalia, distribution within a school, and 2 more charges.
We'd had information that they were selling marijuana out of the business, and that's kind of what got this started. The 2 houses that we had done would have been the 2, one of them was the owner and the other one that works there.
The Labette County Sheriff's Office worked with the Parsons Police Department and the Kansas Department of Revenue on this case. And President Biden is urging schools to keep medication on hand that can reverse opioid overdoses. Plus, the first phase of the American Heartland theme park development broke ground yesterday. Details are coming up. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, more Americans have rolled up their sleeves to get the updated COVID-19 vaccines. However, the overall numbers are still low. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, nearly 15 million Americans have received a dose of the updated vaccines. That's a slight increase from last week, which showed roughly 10 million Americans received the updated shot. But that figure represents only about 3% of the U.S. population. Last month, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommended those aged 6 months and older get one of the updated COVID vaccines ahead of the winter months. Those covered by private health insurance, Medicaid, or Medicare typically qualify for free COVID shots, as well as flu shots. And the Biden administration is urging schools to keep medication on hand that can reverse opioid overdoses. In a letter to educators Monday, White House officials said every school across the U.S. should stock Naxaline nasal spray, also known as Narcan, and faculty and students should be trained to use it. The letter comes amid a nationwide rise in overdose deaths among adolescents. Over the past 2 decades, more than 5,000 children and teens have died from overdoses involving fentanyl, according to the Medical Journal of JAMA Pediatrics. More than half of those occurred during the first 2 years of the COVID pandemic. The FDA approved Narcan for over-the-counter use earlier this year, and the manufacturer is lowering the drug's cost to make it more accessible to community groups and local governments. And more than 37 million people are living with diabetes in the U.S. It's a chronic disease that affects how your body turns food into energy, and it can cause severe damage to a person's body. Mandy Gaither has 5 ways to help prevent health problems from diabetes.
It's a common disease, but millions of Americans may not even know they have diabetes, even though early detection is critical.
As soon as you can have the diagnosis made, the sooner the proper treatment can begin.
Diabetes can damage the eyes, kidneys, nerves, and heart.
If you have high blood glucose, you're more likely to have high blood pressure and high cholesterol. And those 3 factors, either independently and certainly working together, can damage the small vessels in our bodies.
You can prevent diabetes-related health problems by taking charge of your health. That includes adopting healthy lifestyle habits like a sensible diet. Physical activity and getting adequate sleep is also important, as is managing stress and taking medicines on time.
Smoking also has a detrimental effect on your small blood vessels. And so, especially with people with diabetes, we want to suggest that they try to stop smoking.
Experts say small health changes over time can make a big difference and may not be as overwhelming.
You can begin to make choices that you are more likely to stick to.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC's National Diabetes Statistics Report also estimates that around 96 million adults in the U.S. have pre-diabetes, where blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but not high enough to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. Talk to a doctor about getting your blood sugar tested, especially if you have risk factors, including being overweight, being 45 years or over, or having a close relative with type 2 diabetes.
And we've got a cold start out there, but it looks pretty. Look at the sunrise out there off to the east. Looking like a great day, but it's going to be a chilly one. That also means that time for trick-or-treating, it's going to be quite cold as well. We'll take a look at the forecast here in just another couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:14 coming up on 7:15 on this Tuesday morning. And take a look. We have got a beautiful start to the day. Our camera at the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Nice sunrise across the city. Unfortunately, pretty cold temperatures down here at ground level. Great clear skies also. MoDOT camera 32nd and range line. And see some of the frost on the grass here from the KDOT camera on 69 just south of Pittsburgh. So a very chilly start out there. Freeze warnings do continue northeastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas until 9 o'clock this morning. That gives you any indication as to how cold it is. And if that doesn't, here's another great view of that sunrise. Our camera at 7th and range line. This should tell you how cold it is. It is 29 in Joplin. Feels like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at 7. The wind's going to pick up. Temperatures are going to rise a little, but not much. Taking a look at temperatures around the region, they look about like this. 28 Fort Scott, 29 in Nevada, 26 Stockton Monette. We're at 22 in Parsons, 32 Chinook, 24 Neodesha, so kind of all over the board. And for those of you who may have missed the discussion on the KOAM side of things, this map sometimes runs into a technical difficulty with data. So I do not believe it is actually 14 degrees in Grove and Miami. It may be, but the official reports coming in don't really jive with this odd circle here. Outside of that, though, wind chills 21 Lamar and Fort Scott, 20 Stockton and Greenfield, 21 in Fort Scott, 20 Iola. So even with the slight breeze, it's enough to make it feel pretty chilly out there. Winds shifting out of the north, picking up to about 25 miles an hour with those gusts, 34 at 11. We head into the afternoon. We've got these clear.
Yellow card, too cold.
I'll see what I can do about that then. All right, so we've been penalized here for a high in the 40s. Sunny skies, otherwise. I'll see if I can fix this. I do not want another penalty. Freeze tonight, 22 for the low. And a real quick check of that Halloween forecast. If you're trick-or-treating, we're looking about like this. 35 by 5, 31, 7, and 9. So freezing temperatures, either bundle up or, again, as we've been mentioning, find maybe an indoor trunk-or-treat event. We do start to warm up, unfortunately not in time for Halloween. Near 50 tomorrow, pushing mid-60s by Friday, sunshine. Showers on Saturday, don't forget to fall back. Also, one of our warmer days, near 70. As we head into next week, showers possible Monday and Thursday. Temperatures holding in the low to mid-60s. So hopefully that'll reverse that penalty there. That's a quick check of your forecast. Now, here's Caitlin.
Thanks, Chris. Well, officials in Craig County, Oklahoma yesterday broke ground on the first phase of the American Heartland theme park development, a 350-space RV park and campground. Pittsburgh native Gene Bicknell is the founder of the company behind the project, and Marie Bryan has more.
A few RVs were on the site to help people imagine what's coming, but otherwise this 320-acre parcel just east of Veneta is a blank slate. The developers broke ground today on the Three Ponies RV park with state and local officials who predict great things to come.
We've had a tremendous outpouring already, but I expect that after today our phones are going to be ringing off the hook.
Though it's ranch land now with limited development, the city intends to extend police, fire, and full utilities to the site. Three Ponies is described as a luxury RV park with a rec center and general store on site.
The developers here imagine an RV park with 750 spots and 300 cabins. It'll take 2 years to build and cost $100 million. During the construction of this, they'll break ground on the American Heartland theme park.
We're going to open that theme park in 2026. Yeah, so we're ready. We're pushing dirt today, and we hope to push dirt over there soon.
The groundbreaking is planned next spring at the earliest on the theme park, while construction will start immediately on the RV park. It's all part of a larger plan to inspire a new patriotism, according to founder Gene Bicknell.
To tell the world that we're still America, and that we're going to be America, and they're not going to take it away from us. So that's our whole purpose.
The developers are still in talks with the state and city about incentives for the project.
That is a lot of different conversations that are happening, but the state wants to be supportive.
The RV park alone is expected to employ 300 people when it opens in 2 years.
The theme park is scheduled to open in 2026. Now let's take it to break.
Movie and music news now. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
There are two things in the music business: before Thriller and after Thriller.
40 years after Michael Jackson's Thriller redefined pop music, the documentary Thriller 40 looks at how it was made and what it meant. The documentary on one of the best-selling albums of all time features never-before-seen footage and interviews with Usher, Mary J. Blige, will.i.am, Mark Ronson, and more. Thriller 40 debuts December 2nd on Paramount Plus with Showtime. The Black Phone is calling back. Universal and Blumhouse have announced The Black Phone 2, a sequel to the 2022 horror hit that grossed more than $160 million worldwide. The original was about a 13-year-old boy who is kidnapped and held in a basement, where a disconnected telephone allows him to talk to the kidnapper's previous victims. No word on casting or a plot for the sequel, which is due in theaters June 27, 2025. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, and coming up, our very own Tanya Bach, the real one, gives us a glimpse of history of the Kendrick House located in Carthage, Missouri.
And we are cold out there, but it looks nice. We'll talk about that forecast and all that when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:26 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. The Kiwanis Club hosted their second annual Trunk or Treat yesterday evening at Baxter Springs High School. The purpose of the event was to bring the community together and celebrate Halloween. The Kiwanis Club hosted a drive-through trunk or treat during the pandemic and wanted to continue their outreach in the community by hosting another one for the kiddos in the area.
We're hoping it'll grow each year and just gives us a chance to reach out to the community and get some businesses in here and a safe opportunity for the kids and hopefully a fun opportunity for the kids.
And at 5 p.m. and wrapped up around 7 p.m. Over 300 people attended last year's Trunk or Treat, and this year's event was estimated to draw an even larger crowd. Organizers yesterday announced the theme for this year's Christmas Parade, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. Freeman Health System and the City of Joplin also unveiled this year's emblem, which features a smiling snowman sitting next to a Christmas green electric guitar. Freeman has managed the city's Christmas parade since 2014. Officials say the partnership has been beneficial for all sides.
Without the bands and the floats from our neighbors, the parade wouldn't be very big. So we depend on them, and we want them to have an appreciation for Christmas. We want them to enjoy Joplin and enjoy being neighbors.
Money raised from the parade benefits the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. The parade is scheduled for Tuesday, December 5th. Newton County residents can now sign up for Christmas food baskets from the Newton County Food Brigade. The Help Center in Neosho will open most days through November 16th for people to apply for help. Anyone can sign up. To do so, residents will need a photo ID, proof of residency, and a social security card for each resident of the home. For specific dates and times, you can check out the Facebook page of the Help Center. And on Wednesday, Kansas and Missouri will begin enforcement of their cold weather rules. Now, these are slightly different between the states, but both prevent utility companies from disconnecting a customer's electricity and natural gas during freezing temperatures. Oklahoma's rule is in effect year-round. It's temperature-based. So for more details, go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com.
And we've got a cold start out there. A reminder, freeze warnings continuing Oklahoma and Arkansas until 9 o'clock this morning, and that is because it is downright cold. Doesn't look that way. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Clear skies, a beautiful start to the day. It's just the temperatures aren't so beautiful, and they're not going to get much better as we go through the day. So as you see, this is what we're talking about. We're going to reach highs right around the low 40s, but it's going to be a relatively small part of our day. We're going to spend most of the day in the mid to upper 30s, and of course, as we head into the evening, those temperatures are going to begin to fall across the area. We're going to take a look at your full forecast, the warm-up that's on the way, and of course talk about the trick-or-treating forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Southwest Missouri experienced some of the worst guerrilla warfare of the Civil War. Few buildings and homes survived. One of them in North Carthage is the Kendrick House. It's 174 years old, and it was used as a family home, a community hospital, and military headquarters. Today, it's a living museum. As KOAM's Tanya Bach discovers, some claim its occupants are still there.
Elvira Kendrick, Joshua Kendrick, Austin Kendrick.
Lisa Martin is talking about the people who never left the Kendrick Mansion, the oldest home in Jasper County.
Rose, who was a servant of the family for many years. Elizabeth Kendrick, who was the first Mrs. Kendrick here.
Elizabeth and her husband, William Kendrick, built this modified federal-style house in 1849. Their home, one of the few to survive the Civil War.
They estimate that there would be about 1,000 guerrilla fighters ranging between Lamar and the Arkansas border. You never knew who was riding up, if they were a friend or foe.
The parlor room still has its war secrets, from the many times the women and children hid under the floor to the days when General Joe Shelby fed his horses out of the cabinet drawers.
Their feet left hoof prints. There's some on the floor over there, and there's a couple more that are actually under the carpet here.
During the Battle of Carthage, the table I'm lying on was used as a field hospital operating table. Today, when visitors come to the Kendrick House and lie on the table, they often have unusual experiences.
The Kendrick descendants lived in the home until the late 1960s. Today, a nonprofit runs the Kendrick House, with Martin on the board for the past 15 years. She's also a member of the Paranormal Science Lab research group.
Carol is very active in the house. We get lots of EVPs related to her.
William and Elizabeth's great-great-granddaughter, Carol Sue Janney, died from polio in 1936, just before she turned 3.
You wanted me to roll the ball?
Nicknamed Carrot, Martin says that she and her Aunt Pauline, who also died at a young age, often interact and play with visitors.
They're going about their days just like we are. And we just happen to run into each other sometimes.
And sometimes the girls and others in the home will even talk to you.
Carrot, was that you? Oh. It's nice to meet you, Carrot.
There are just some places that seem to have, that are almost like a way station between this side and the other side.
A stopping point at the Kendrick House seems fitting for a home that's been around for 174 years. Reporting in Carthage, Missouri, Tanya Bach, KOAM News.
Their next investigation and haunted house history tour, and you can also find a link to tickets on our website.
So wild.
Every Halloween for the last 12 years, this home on the corner of Oakwood and East attracts the living.
This is our tradition. We come over here every Halloween and look at all the fun.
To pose with the dead and take selfies with zombies.
Scary and fun. A lot of work.
Jesse Jones is the mastermind of this macabre array.
It's just a good time to come here. You can dress up, you can do whatever, nobody cares.
So imagine his fright when he found some of his scene disappeared under the dark of night.
When I came out, there were some baby dolls like this strewn out in the road, and 2 of the clowns I had put baby dolls on, so I realized, uh-oh.
Pennywise is it in this porch display. The custom-made killer clown that stood next to him is gone. So are 3 others and an animatronic Jason.
And they targeted and took the good stuff. They didn't leave. They didn't mess with the stuff that was cheaper. They took the high-end stuff, so they knew what they were doing.
Fans of the Halloween house on Oakwood can't believe there's now a Grinch who stole another holiday.
I think it's terrible. Well, let's just have fun. Don't steal from people.
It's disappointing. It's not kind. It's sad because it's disrespecting their work and the appreciation they have for the community.
Jones says in 12 years of putting on this display, he's never had an incident like this happen. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Biden issues orders over an eye. Plus,
we've got ourselves a chilly start out there. Is it going to get any better for Halloween and trick-or-treating? We'll have that answer in your forecast here in just a few more minutes. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News here on Fox 14. Our good friend Charlene Patton again, all the way back from Topeka. And of course, it's a pretty spooky day today.
It is.
And as such, first, we want to wish you safe travels. You got to be careful out there because you might encounter some goblins.
I might.
It's kind of crazy because we're making goblin-filled cupcakes today.
And I'll have them in my car, so if I have a visitor, I'll share some with them.
Okay.
And I'm going to share them with you today. I love this recipe. We're using a cake mix, so we still have time to do this today. But in the ingredients, and I'll show you here, we'll put that on the website, but we're using a half a cup of tofu, and that replaces the egg. So if there's anyone that isn't able to eat eggs, remember that you can do that with tofu, and that it'll replace it.
I did not know that. Okay.
And then we're putting water in. Well, I guess it uses 2 eggs in this recipe, but you can replace it with the tofu.
Okay.
Okay, bake it just like you normally would with your directions.
Okay.
When it comes out, I used a spoon and made a hole down in there. That way we've got a place to put that filling. And then these are just decorator bags, and I've got the recipe for the gooey filling that we put in there. This is fun for kids because once you make it, it's white. Put it in some different colored bowls and you can make several different colors.
Okay.
Like, well, you have green. I've got kind of a fluorescent green down in there. We're just going to pipe it in there until it starts to come out the top. See that? There we go. And then we have frosting here, and I'm just going to frost it with the chocolate frosting that's going to cover that up. So then nobody's going to know what's in their cupcake.
Okay.
Until they bite into it. And then you can show yours, because I gave you one there.
Yes, and this one here has been opened up, and you can actually see what that filling looks like on the inside there. See how that goes down? So unless you get into it, you're not going to know what color you got anything like that. So it's a nice surprise.
And you can make it red, yellow, whatever you want to do. And then I've got some decorations here. I'm going to let you decorate however you want to. Have some eyeballs, have some festive little, I guess that's a skull, isn't it? Yes.
So we can do that and maybe throw some eyes onto this guy right here because he's watching.
Yes.
Okay, and he'll watch out for those other guys when you're traveling back and get back safe. He'll make sure.
That's right. So it makes 24 cupcakes, so you have plenty to give your trick-or-treaters or have your party before the trick-or-treaters come, and just an easy way to have some fun with Halloween today.
Absolutely, and the kids will love this as well, as you mentioned. So, of course, Charlene, if folks want to get this recipe, where do they need to go?
They should go to kansassoybeans.org, or they can call our 800 number at 877-KS-SOYBEAN. We'll mail them all the recipes. Plus, one more time, we'll mention that they get the added bonus this month of the National Festival of Bread's winning recipes from the Kansas Wheat Commission, because the Kansas Soybean Commission sponsored a special honorable mention award for the best soy ingredient. So they'll get that
extra bonus this year, or this month. So make sure you check it out. And of course, if for any reason you missed any of that, do not worry. You'll find it all on our website as well at KOAMnewsnow.com. We've got a lot more spooky stuff coming up with the KOAM Morning News. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 742, just about 743 here on this Tuesday morning. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. We've had a lot of fun this morning. Unfortunately, it's not, for me, the coffee's starting to wear off, and so I'm starting to wear out. But let's take a look outside. Our camera on top of the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin, showing a beautiful sunrise out there. What you can't tell is it is rather chilly. Got clear skies also from the MoDOT camera at 32nd and Range Line, and clear skies and even what appears to be some patchy frost out there from the KDOT camera on 69 just south of Pittsburgh. Again, freeze warnings continuing through 9 a.m. for Oklahoma, Arkansas out there because, well, it's freezing. Here's that sunrise from our camera at 7th and Range Line. 29, feels like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at about 7 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region looking like this. 29s in Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, and Nevada, as well as Carthage. 24 in Chautauqua, 22 Parsons, 32 in Chanute Yates Center, 23 Neodesha. We got 20 in Veneta, 24 in Neosho, and 27 Monette and Cassville. And even with the light breeze, feels a little cooler. 22 Monette, 24 Cassville, feels like 18 in Independence, 23 in Chanute, 20 in Fort Scott. So it's a bit on the cool side. And then, even though we're going to warm up just a smidgen, we're also going to have the winds pick up more than a smidgen. And those wind chills are going to hang out in the 20s for us for a little bit today. So sunny, breezy, temperatures slow to rise up to about 34 by 11. Heading into the afternoon, we will briefly, for maybe a couple of hours, reach the low 40s. We're going to spend most of our day in the mid to upper 30s with those sunny skies out there. As we head into the evening, clear skies continue and our temperatures, of course, will fall. We got another freeze tonight as we drop back into the low 20s for our overnight lows. As we look down the road for Halloween for trick-or-treating tonight, 35 at 5, leveling out at 31 for a bit from 7 to 9, clear skies. So again, you have to bundle up the kids, or you're going to have to make sure that you've got maybe an indoor event you can go to, maybe a trunk or treat or something like that, because it is going to be downright cold out there. Now the sun will stop lying to us, and instead of just looking good, it'll start to feel good. Temperatures are going to begin to warm as we head into the end of the week. So near 50 tomorrow, near 60 Thursday, mid 60s on Friday, near 70 by Saturday. Could see a stray shower or two out there. Some showers possible, but these showers aren't going to send our temperatures down into the meat locker status. And of course, we don't want you to forget to fall back. Make sure you set your clocks back an hour because you've earned that sleep Saturday night. Mid-60s Sunday, more showers maybe Monday or Thursday, but next week temperatures looking pretty good, a little more fall-like out there as we hang out in the low to mid-60s. That's a quick check of your forecast full of bats. Now here's Caitlin with Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, in Consumer Watch this morning, General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union have reached a tentative agreement confirmed by both sides Monday afternoon. The tentative deal comes more than 6 weeks into the workers' strike and just days after the union expanded its strike at the nation's largest automaker. Just last week, the UAW reached tentative deals with both Ford and Stellantis. The agreement set the stage for the strikes to soon end if rank-and-file union members approve the vote. And artificial intelligence has great power, but with great power comes great responsibility. Here's the Biden administration announcing a new executive order. Mike Valerio has a look.
Artificial intelligence technology is advancing rapidly, and the federal government is scrambling to keep up.
I'm about to sign an executive order that is the most significant action any government anywhere in the world has ever taken on AI safety, security, and trust.
The White House unveiling a sweeping new executive order Monday aimed at mitigating the risks of AI while also harnessing its potential.
To realize the promise of AI and avoid the risk, we need to govern this technology.
According to the Biden administration, the order will require all AI developers to share results of their safety tests with the federal government before they're released to the public, compel companies to notify the government if an AI model in development poses national security, economic, or health risks, ease immigration barriers for skilled workers to study and stay in the U.S., establish standards to prevent AI production of dangerous biological materials, and develop best practices to minimize the risks of AI displacing human workers. Among a number of other key concerns, Harvard's Bruce Schneier says getting AI regulation right is critical.
They're not freewheeling technologies. They're more like pharmaceuticals. You get them wrong and people die.
He says AI has the potential to transform the way we live and work for the better if the technology is kept in check.
This is going to be the beginning of a very long international process, but it's a start, and it's an important start.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market before the opening bell. A father and son stuck in traffic found themselves stuck in the path of a pop-up traffic twister.
And the whole thing was caught on camera. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A pop-up storm that shot across San Antonio, Texas led to a crazy caught-on-camera moment for a father and son. In the video, the pair sitting at a red light noticed debris flying through the air. Seconds later, a small tornado whipped across the highway.
Oh, it's right here,
And headed straight for them.
Oh, it's coming right at us, right?
The traffic twister fizzled quickly and no injuries were reported, but some local property owners weren't as lucky as ripped roofs and downed trees were reported. Speaking of taking Texas by storm, take a look at a pint-sized popsicle purveyor who may be the youngest business owner in Texas. 3-year-old Merrick Gomez runs the M&M Palettes cart, slinging frozen tasty treats to Texans in Temple. His parents say the biz was born out of Merrick's penchant for pricey toys. Merrick is learning about setting goals and the value of $1 and already set his eyes on a prize.
The Batmobile with the grappling hook. The big Batmobile with a grappling hook? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta have the grappling hook. Finally, meet a Nebraska 4-year-old who's become a full-fledged farmer after simply leaving out some corn to feed a friendly squirrel. You see, the hungry critter left a corny litter, and now little Tex Craven's act of kindness has grown into a mini field of front yard corn. Sure, the family's reaping what they've sown with a yard that's overgrown, but they say it's worth it.
It costs nothing to have a core memory, and what better core memory, right?
Core memory? More like corn memory. Am I right? Okay. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Love it.
Absolutely.
Love that entrepreneur. And boy, that pop-up twister, that's a terrifying thing.
Did you know that was a thing, Chris?
I've seen dust devils that can spin up pretty quickly, and they can be pretty scary, and they can tear some stuff up on occasion. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about any dust devils or pop-up twisters or anything like that. We only have to worry about how heavy of a coat do you need, and that's going to depend on how sensitive you are to the cold. I, for example, have several layers ready to go. I've got the sweater. I've got a shirt. I've got a shirt under this shirt. And when I was reporting, you guys remember the Great Freeze back in January of, what was that, 2020, 2019, right around there? Yeah, it was a rough one. All right, our Cameron Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Sunrise looks great. Clear skies out there. Freeze warnings through 9 a.m. for Oklahoma and Arkansas. 29 Joplin and Pittsburgh. You can see the frost down there. Highs today will briefly reach the lower 40s. We're going to spend most of the day in the upper 30s out there with those sunny skies. We'll have another look at your trick-or-treat forecast, the warm-up that's on the way, and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities file new charges after the Lubbock County Sheriff's Office seized narcotics while executing a search warrant at a tobacco shop in Parsons, Kansas. Law officers seized around 9 pounds of marijuana, 4 ounces of methamphetamine, 2 grams of suspected fentanyl, and $18,000 cash. And authorities in Independence, Kansas investigate a deadly shooting. The shooting happened yesterday morning in the 1100 block of West Cedar. When officers arrived, they found 37-year-old Jason York of Independence with a gunshot wound. He died at the scene. Police have not yet arrested anyone in the case. And Joplin's Lafayette House gets a grant courtesy of the Ozark Food Harvest. It's a portion of a $1 million investment Ozark Food Harvest is making in 70 organizations to relieve hunger in Southwest Missouri. The Lafayette House helps provide a safe haven for survivors of domestic abuse.
All right, trick-or-treating tonight, 35 at 5, 31, 7, and 9. So bundle up or find an indoor trunk-or-treat where it's warm. Temperatures will begin to warm up, though, toward the end of the week. Mid-60s by Friday, showers on Saturday near 70. And make sure you set your clocks back an hour there. So we have got nice warm weather eventually on the way.
Eventually, but not tonight. Not on Halloween night.
Tomorrow night, it's going to be a pinch warmer, but not for Halloween.
So stay warm out there.
That's tradition here in the 4 states. You know, it's got to be cold.
Got it. All right.
Well, we have had a lot of fun. I hope you all have had a lot of fun with us this morning. We had Tanya Bach And everybody said I looked like Mr. Rogers yesterday. So, you know, I just went with it. I'll be Mr. Rogers.
Absolutely. Have a happy and safe Halloween, and we'll see you today at noon.